Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Do you know what psychological abuse looks like? You're looking at it right now. You see, I don't have any black and blues under my eyes. I don't have any big puffy swollen face. I don't have a broken arm in a sling. I don't have any visible scars on my body. And I'm talking to you, smiling, alert, and just having a conversation with me. You would think that everything's fine, but it isn't. That's what psychological scarring can do. Psychological abuse. It's very, very hard to notice. It usually goes unnoticed because it's so easy to cover up, very easy. And I've come from years and years of psychological abuse. Now, usually the people that psychologically abuse you are usually people in power over you. So your parents, psychologists, and oftentimes your lover if you're dependent on them. Like some, poor woman who has young children and she doesn't have any money and she's dependent upon her boyfriend who beats her just to survive, because she doesn't have the capacity to financially support herself. So it's usually people in power over you that cause psychological abuse. For me, it was my parents, especially my mother, and my psychologist, Dr. Richard Geis, Dr. James Barbaria, Dr. Jeffrey Fortgang. Those people psychologically abused me. And there's no proof. I don't have the bruises. I can't take snapshots of it like other people who are physically abused, like Nicole Simpson with OJ. She had pictures that she had taken with her face all swollen and black and blued and everything. There was physical proof of the abuse. But with me, I don't have any physical proof of my abuse. There is no snapshot of me with the swollen black eyes, or bleeding or bruising or all the scarring from my abuse is inside. And that's a horrible, horrible thing. You know why it's so horrible? Because it doesn't get validated. It does not get validated. I can't go to the police and say, look, these men should be arrested, or my parents should be arrested for the abuse that I endured. Because there is no visible proof. I can't take a picture. If I take a picture of me now like this and say I'm abused, they'll laugh at me. They'll think I'm crazy. Because where's the proof? You look fine. You see? Looks don't count. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. You never know what's going on inside a person just by how they look outwardly. You can't tell by a smile. You can't tell by twinkling eyes. You can't tell by, a face, free of scars or bruises, You can't tell. Emotional abuse is horrible. It's worse than physical abuse because it messes you up. A black and blue, a bruise can heal. Have you ever had a bruise on you? It didn't stay, did it? Bruises heal up. Well, let me tell you, emotional scarring does not heal. I am not healed by my past with my mother. because I went to therapy to get healed, and I was sexually exploited by 3 psychologists, sexually exploited and psychologically abused. I was abused to feel shame. If I were to speak up, I could ruin his life. These psychologists all stuck together, like a clique. Like in high school when there's cliques with girls and then they torment and tease. I was tormented in school too, right? You know how they have these cliques, the popular girls, they're in these little cliques, and they torment all the other people, the shy ones, the ones that are maybe overweight and not as pretty. I was one of the shy, very shy, overweight, not pretty back then, no self-confidence. Because I was coming from a home that mentally abused me and made me frightened of the world, and therefore I had no self-confidence, so I couldn't stand up to these girls in high school. And then I was re-traumatized with my psychologist. So I tried to get help. I did. I really did. I went for years and years and years into therapy, and every single psychologist, psychologically abused me. That's why it's my life's mission to come on the internet and to, warn people about psychological abuse. Because not everyone is aware of it, especially when you're in the middle of it. You're too in the forest to see the green. You don't really realize you are being psychologically abused. Because it feels good. You're getting all this attention. They tell you, oh, you're so beautiful. No one's like you. You're one of a kind. You don't see that as abuse. Like, how is this abuse? You can't realize it. When you're in the middle of it, when Dr. Richard Geist let me sit in his lap and crawl all over him. That felt so good, He used to come on the couch and put his arm around me and tell me he'll always be there and I'm special and I love you. That doesn't seem like abuse, but it was. I was exploited and I didn't know how much abuse that I endured. I turned into an alcoholic and I got drunk every single day for years because I couldn't deal with the fallout of it. And what's the fallout? When the narcissist, right? They were all narcissists. When the narcissist withdraws the charm and the affection and the attention, because they always withdraw it, and then they shame you and make you feel small after you're already hooked. You see, after you're already hooked. And you don't know you're getting hooked because they're charming the hell out of you. They're charming the panties right off of you. That's what these psychologists did. They charmed the panties right off of me. I took all my clothes off for Dr. Richard Geist. And he sat there and he Googled me and watched. He did not leave. Then he had the audacity to write a paper about it. Can you imagine how narcissistic that is? I mean, to gloat. And they do. They'll gloat about their conquests. So, I guess what I'm trying to warn people is when you're in that, whether it's therapy or it's a relationship with a boyfriend, and they're charming the panties off of you, making you feel like you're the best. No one is like you. You're gorgeous. You're one of a kind. I love you. And they're doting all the attention on you. Run. I'm telling you to run because you think it's wonderful. It's like a drug, like a kid in a candy store. Oh my God, like grabbing everything in the aisles, right? Run, because wait till you get to the fallout when they withdraw it and pull the rug right out from under you and shame you and belittle you. It's all part of the grand scheme of things. And when you're caught up in all that, You're so beautiful. You're so special. You're one of a kind. I love you. I could never live without you. Right? When you hear that, it's just so, you've never had that all your life as a child. So, it's overwhelming, it's overstimulating. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I couldn't do anything. I just was so like a drug. It's, it was like the endorphins made me high. All those, all those hormones, those good chemical hormones, like, they just gave me a high. And I never felt like that, all my life. And they knew that because they're psychologists. They have a doctorate degree, years and years of training. They know how to play mind games. All those years of training, a doctorate degree. They were all doctors. One from Yale, one from Harvard. They knew how to play mind games. And when you're in the middle of it, if someone is listening to you 5 hours, 10 hours a week, telling you you're beautiful, you're handsome, or you're special, you're so intelligent, no one is like you, you get hooked. I will never, ever trust anyone ever again. I will never believe those words ever, ever again, because I'm on the other side of it now. You see? I'm on the other side of it. What they did to me was torture. Psychological torture. So you look at me and say, you're crazy. There's nothing wrong with her. She's making it up. Because it's all psychological. You can't see it outside in skin form. It's all inside. The pain, the scarring is all internal. You can't see my pain. And that's why, it's paramount that I get on here and warn people what these psychologists do. Okay? It should be against the law. It is in 26 states. We've got to change the laws. We've got to change the laws so that every state makes it illegal to have sex with a patient. It's statutory rape. It's statutory rape. We've got to change the laws that if someone else knows that a psychologist is abusing a patient and they go along with it, that they're in trouble too. Just like Dick and Jeffrey, Dr. Geist and Dr. Fortgang. They went along with Jim having sex with me. They encouraged it. And they shamed me to keep quiet when I wanted to report him. But I didn't. I did report him. But now I reported Dick Geist because he encouraged the relationship and he supported the unethical relationship. And he shamed me into keeping quiet. You can't tell. You have to keep quiet. You can't go to the board. He shamed me. You see? So he should be held to the fire just like Jim was. They have to change the laws. This is why I'm trying to come on and fight for it, because psychological abuse you can't see. You don't know. You could have someone who has a great career, who looks like they have a lot of friends, who is absolutely gorgeous, stunning, looks like a model, has a great figure, and you could say that person has it all. That person, but you don't know by looking at the outside picture of that person, right? Like a book. Don't judge a book by its cover. You could see a beautiful book with leather binding and it's in great condition. You can go, what an awesome book and everything. But until you open it up and look into it, you don't know the damage. And believe me, the damage is, not repairable. It isn't, because I'll never go to another doctor again. Never.